You're making gravity work for you by pulling you in the right direction, and you're removing gravity's ability to pull you in the opposite, pulling you in the directions that you don't want to be in. Hi, my name's Emily Gangley, and my brand is MVP DTF. Movement via principles, decide, then fly. The biggest mistake movers are making today is not understanding the power of Centerline. My biggest mistake is withholding this knowledge. I want to save your life. I'm just now figuring this out, so guess what I wanted for you before? I wanted for you to fail. I wanted you to fail because I was spiteful. Why was I spiteful? I was addicted to status and didn't even know. I didn't even care about status because I already had it. I thought that since my skills had always improved, that my status would always be supplied. But when I got cut off from my outward validation, I felt cheated and became jealous. Withholding knowledge was my instrument of revenge. I was doing this at the same time I thought I was becoming a Jedi. As a Jedi, we must guard and protect those weaker than ourselves, not bully and destroy them. Gravity is a master of Centerline because it never stops practicing. If you don't understand how to become best friends with gravity, it will kill you. If you can become friends with gravity, it will empower you and therefore the entire universe. What I know about gravity is that it never turns off. Gravity is always on. Gravity is always doing its magic. And because of that, it will defeat you if you're in the wrong position. If you're in the right position, you'll harness the power of gravity like a sail harnesses the power of the wind. Knowing how to use gravity and knowing how physics works can save your life, or it can get you destroyed. Just knowing what to do, where to be, determines how you can use the power of gravity to your advantage. So one of the things that I think that pretty much 99% of the movers out there are failing to realize is that position, according to gravity, determines what it'll do for you. And I'm going to use the Wing Chun dummy behind me to demonstrate how position matters so much when gravity is affecting on you, your body. So let me show you what I mean. The Wing Chun dummy has 3 arms and a leg. And when you look at it, it doesn't seem like gravity is doing anything to those arms because the body remains stagnant. But there's force of gravity on each of those arms. There's force of gravity on the leg pulling down. So what you need to know is that when you're moving in space, when your arms and your legs are out doing stuff and you're moving through the environment, you're always putting these levers, so to say, out in the universe for gravity to affect on. So having supreme positioning, having the highest amount of control and choice of where you put your levers out in the universe determines how much you can use gravity to your advantage. I can, just from here, if I use, the way a lever works is that the farther you're away from the core or the fulcrum, if I'm not mistaken, the more effect it has on the body. And I can demonstrate this by showing you that just by sitting here and then on the leg, I'm going to push down on the leg. From here, I can push down the whole body. I can make this fall on top of me. It'd be really silly. But I can make this entire body of weight fall over, or almost fall over. I could throw it on the ground over my shoulder and knock myself out just by sitting here and doing nothing. because I'm putting my force on this dummy at the very edge of the lever where I have the most control. If I move my arm closer up to the core, from here sitting down, pulling straight down, I'm not going to be able to pull it over. I could pull it towards me to pull it over, but pulling straight down, it's not going to happen. From here, pushing straight down, it's coming. So when you're moving out in space and you aren't making choices with your arms, where you're putting your arms out in space, you're leaving things up to guesswork. You're letting your instincts take over with your arms. And instincts are good, but here's what I believe. I believe that you should take what is mindless, you should take what is instinctual, and you should put on top of that what is designed. You should put on top your mental power and overwrite instincts. And then you're making choices. You're making choices about how you want the force of gravity to affect your body. And when you overwrite your instincts and you practice day in and day out, you have new instincts. And then when you're exercising a new form of instincts, then you have instincts on top of your new instincts. So rely on your instincts, but also override your instincts, because there's movement, you can change how you react in split seconds. You can change what you do in those split seconds where you're not even thinking. If you practice day in and day out to make a different choice in those moments, you will have better instincts. Your instincts will be overwritten in the way that you want them to be. And then you'll have instincts on top of that. So what I'm trying to say is that when you are moving, don't leave the position of your arms up to chance. I don't fully know what I'm doing all of the time with my arms, but I know that it makes a difference, and I am working on it. I am building upon what I'm finding works, and I'm perfecting it as I go. And you can too. If you realize that if you're not paying attention to what your arms are doing, then someone who is paying attention to what they're doing with their arms is going to be exercising that much more control in that moment than you are. And that amount of control can be the difference between being able to protect yourself from falling in danger's way, or, not having that additional protection there to stop you from falling where you don't want to fall. So now that I've showed how the position of the arms and the legs in accordance to gravity can affect the entire body, I want to show you how you can apply that in a situation, how you can use a centerline to become to terms with gravity, and so that gravity cannot work against you. And I can do that right here. Watch, I'm going to take the leg off of this Wing Chun dummy. So now the Wing Chun dummy has no lever in that position. So if I were to be gravity, this force that is constantly pushing down, I can no longer push this dummy down because the position of that leg is no longer there. There's nothing for gravity to work on. I can do this all day, and the body is not going to fall over because gravity has no lever at that point. So what you want to do is, with your body, you need to remove the levers that gravity has on you in the way of danger. You have to learn how to create levers with your body in the way of safety, so that gravity is pulling you into the way of safety, and you remove the levers that pull you into danger. If I say precision in the movement community, people will think only about precision jump. But precision is not just for landing precisely. Your movement can have precision at all aspects. Everything about your movement can be precise. Everything can be precise. You're not just precise when you're landing on the edge of a ledge. You can be precise and meticulous with everything that you do in your movement, and it's gonna pay off. It's not just gonna pay off when you're trying to land on the edge of a ledge. And that's one of the things I dislike, is just this idea that precision is reserved for landing on the ledge. And then we get this idea that precision has a certain form, and it's when you're landing on the edge and you're squatting. If you decide that precisely you want some other position, that is precision. Precision is when you adhere to your vision. Precision is when you are doing exactly what works for you and what you chose to do. There is no precision form. Precision is a shape of mind. So one of the ways that I use precision is using my arms to cut through the environment. In the same way that the arms and the legs of the Wing Chun dummy behind me can be pushed down upon and pull the entire trunk of the body forward, I can use gravity, I can use precise angle of where I put my arm out in space to use gravity to pull my entire trunk down into the direction that I want to fall into. And the reason why I use my arms to cut into the space that I want to is because arms are so fast. You can get your hand out and you can get your fingers out, you can get your arm out so much faster than you can get your leg, simply because your arm does not weigh as much as your leg does. So if you want to cut through a space precisely and you want to take a position in space faster, and you want to make that precise decision of your angular, which angle you're going to cut forward, that precise angle of what you're going to cut forward into. A lot of people aren't even making that precise decision of how to cut into the space. Some people are, but if you really want to cut into a space and use that concept of gravity and leverage to pull you in the precise right direction, you're going to want to use your arms because they're so fast. And when you put that lever in space and you see it in front of you and you see exactly where it's going, you know that the trunk of your body is going to follow. So one of the things that I'm using in my movement is to use this centerline principle, to use this cutting into the environment, to cut directly into something that I can counter out of. For example, I'm going to use this wall here, and I'm going to show you how I can use my arm to cut directly into it. And the reason why I want to cut directly into this wall, into this corner, is because there's force contained in this wall that I can use. If I push on it, it pushes me because it's static. It has the amount of force to push back what I push in. If it was just air or foam, it wouldn't have any force built into it. And when you can cut into something that you can use, you can get to it faster and utilize the force that is built into the environment. So I'm going to show you how you can use the force of gravity to pull you into an area, and then use the force of a wall. So basically you're using the force like a Jedi when you're moving. So so I'm gonna demonstrate this by, I'm gonna cut into this corner from multiple positions in my room to show you how centerline can be used for parkour type movement. So I'm gonna stand back and then I'm gonna cut into that corner by jutting out my arm as if I'm stabbing out to that corner, and I'm going to show you how my entire body will be dragged into that corner, and then I can use it to move forward. So I can't really do it perfectly, but just being able to stab out to the way you're going pretty much sets in stone. When you put your arm out, you immediately start falling in that direction. And then when you take a step, your step is going to follow your upper body, which you already did. And because your arms are so much faster than your legs, you can exercise that precision much more quickly than you can with your leg. So I showed you cutting directly into that corner so I can use the force of that corner for something else. Now I'm going to show you that I'm going to use the same centerline principle to cut directly into the environment a few inches to the left of the corner. So now the corner is no longer representing something that I can touch and use. Now the corner represents something that if I touch, it's going to harm me. But I still want to get as close as I can to it, because maybe there's something on the other side that I can't touch either, which is this camera or the leg of the tripod. Let's say that the legs of the tripods are like lightsabers, and the edge of this corner here is a lightsaber too, and I need to get through precisely without touching either of them. And I'm going to use the center line the same way from the other position in the room. So the last thing I'm going to do is demonstrate how this centerline form will basically protect you from gravity. When my arms are in front of me like this, gravity is pulling down on them through this way, through up and down. It doesn't have anything, it has no levers on the left and the right side of me to pull me down in that way. As soon as I put my arm over here, gravity starts pulling me that way. If I put my arm over here, I can feel gravity pulling me that way. Maybe it's not, but the thing is, gravity always is going to pull this arm, and my legs are going to run out of strength at some point. So gravity will win. Gravity will always win. So when you are moving through space and you assume this form, it may look goofy, but you are taking gravity's lever away from it. You're taking gravity's lever, you're taking away gravity's ability to put you in a position that could harm you. So you're making gravity work for you by pulling you in the right direction, and you're removing gravity's ability to pull you in the opposite, pulling you in the directions that you don't want to be in.